Video editing used to feel like some mystical skill you only learned after a decade of suffering through awful UIs and endless render times. These days, though, the tools are everywhere and honestly pretty approachable for everyone. The catch is that even with a great app, your video can still feel flat if you don't know a few simple editing moves. These moves are what actually make things feel cinematic and incredibly fun to watch. So today, I'm going to walk you through 10 essential cuts every editor should absolutely know. These are the foundational techniques that will instantly level up your final videos. I'll mention some editors along the way, but the techniques themselves work in any non-linear editor you might be using. Also, I'll share how tools can take the boring, repetitive stuff completely off your plate. This frees you up to focus purely on being creative and telling your story better. Let's start with the most basic building block of all, the straight cut. It's literally just the end of one shot immediately followed by the start of the next one. This cut is super clean, meaning it's very nearly invisible to the casual viewer. If I'm saying, hey, I'm Ben and I live in Sydney, and then cut to a different angle of me, that's a straight cut in action. It's perfectly fine, and it certainly gets the job done efficiently. But I'll be honest, it's not really doing much work to excite anyone watching. If you want to be slightly more interesting right away, the next move is to use a cutaway. That's when you keep the audio of the main shot, like someone talking, and lay B-roll footage on top of it. So you're saying, hi, I'm Ben, and I live in Sydney. And meanwhile, you cut to shots of the opera house or a cool surfer. This reads like a natural voiceover because the sound is continuous and it helps visualize what you're talking about. Crucially, it does all this without breaking the visual or narrative flow whatsoever. Pro tip, if you're editing long videos, smart tools can automatically find those visual moments for you. They can recommend B-roll or highlight clips, which totally saves you the tedious scavenger hunt. Next up, we dive into punch-ins, which is a fantastic way to add immediate emphasis. This is where you zoom into a specific moment in your clip purely for emphasis on a word or action. You make a cut right around the phrase you want to highlight, scale that clip up a tiny bit, and bam, it immediately clicks. Punch-ins work incredibly well for highlighting emotional beats or perfectly timed comedic moments. But you must use them sparingly because if you punch in every single sentence, it starts feeling like a flashy fever dream. Now we move on to the jump cut, a technique you have definitely seen many times before. It's essentially a jump forward in time that happens right inside the very same shot you were already watching. You use this technique to remove simple mistakes or to trim awkward long pauses in dialogue. It's also great for speeding through any repetitive actions that just waste viewer time. In one editor, you might ripple delete some takes. In others, you slice out the gap manually. The overall result you are looking for is simply much tighter and more engaging pacing for the viewer. But you need to be cautious because too many jump cuts can make your entire edit feel extremely jittery. If you want that polished, fast pace without the actually visible jump, that leads us perfectly to the invisible cut. Invisible cuts are truly the sneaky best friend of those crunchy, noticeable edits we just discussed. Instead of removing footage and making a big jump, you compress that pause using speed ramping for just a fraction of a second. Usually, you ramp it up to about 3 times speed so the audio keeps flowing perfectly and the cut feels totally natural. This technique works wonders for dialogue or narration, where you simply do not want the edit to scream out its presence. There is one key limitation. Do not try to condense huge stretches of time, like more than 2 full seconds, or it will look quite weird. For creators who do a ton of talking videos, combining invisible cuts with subtle punch-ins elevates professionalism greatly. Now we move on to J-cuts and L-cuts, which together are the true dynamic duo of audio-driven transitions. A J-cut is specifically when the audio from the next scene starts playing before the visuals have actually switched over. Imagine fading in the sound of ocean waves before you even cut to the beach B-roll footage, easing the viewer in. The L-cut is the complete opposite. The current scene's audio continues playing even after you've already switched to the next visual shot. This specific technique is absolutely golden for conversations, as you can show a reaction while the first person's voice still lingers. These two cuts, the J and the L, are what truly make your edits feel cinematic and completely uninterrupted. Action cuts are one of the most versatile and fun tools available to an editor in any situation. The trick is to cut precisely on movement. Think of a hand reaching, a footstep landing, or even just a camera touch. You then match that movement to a similar motion in the very next clip you are transitioning to. This technique beautifully sells continuity even when the entire background setting has completely changed. Fun, low-effort action matches like someone touching the lens or a door slamming shut make changes feel purposeful. You should film with the final cut in mind by syncing the action in both shots so the edit snaps into place perfectly. Speaking of matching, match cuts are where you get to be incredibly clever with your visual storytelling. The classic famous example is from 2001, A Space Odyssey, going from a bone toss up to a spaceship, which is pure filmmaking language. You certainly don't need to be that dramatic in your own work. Sometimes a person throwing a ball in one spot and catching it somewhere else is enough. The absolute key to success here is matching the framing, the motion, and the precise timing between the two clips. When you plan your shots with a match cut firmly in mind, the second clip feels like a natural progression. It avoids feeling like a jarring or completely arbitrary switch for the audience. Finally, we have smash cuts, which are the total opposite of being subtle in any way. This is a sudden jarring cut between two scenes that have vastly different energies or tones. You can effectively use a smash cut to wake people up right away, like cutting from quiet scenery to chaos. It works especially well in short-form content where you desperately need to shock the viewer back into full attention. Use this technique for strong comedic or dramatic beats, but absolutely don't overuse it or the punch will be lost. Okay, that covers the core technique side of things for today. Now for the reality check, editing consistently takes a significant amount of real time. Tools like CapCut are fantastic for quick, on-the-go edits and general mobile convenience. However, they can get surprisingly clunky when you are batching hundreds of clips for a long project. Finding the exact 3-second viral moment inside a massive 40-minute stream is where that friction really starts to show. DaVinci Resolve is an absolute powerhouse, offering incredible color grading and total control over everything. But let's be real, the learning curve for a professional suite like that can be absolutely brutal for many creators. It's simply not always the fastest workflow for creators who need dozens of social clips every single week. This is precisely where dedicated workflow tools change the entire game for content generation. Instead of spending hours just scrubbing through footage looking for those hidden highlights, these tools automate the heavy lifting. They can find those likely viral snippets from your long-form content instantly and effectively. These systems prepare ready-to-post clips and can even queue them up for you ahead of time. So you get to keep the creative joy of cutting the actual story together, which is what matters most. While the software handles the tedious parts like highlight discovery and cross-platform delivery for you. Don't get me wrong, I still use manual editing for certain creative shots and nuanced audio work. But for creators who churn out a large volume of content, having AI pick out the best moments is a massive time saver. Auto-generating social-sized clips saves you from the constant headache of re-exporting everything for different aspect ratios. Furthermore, the content calendar feature means you see everything organized in one central place instantly. You can see what's scheduled, what's already posted, and what might need minor tweaks, all without juggling a million apps. And the auto-schedule feature itself is honestly a tiny bit magical to witness in action. You simply tell it how frequently you want to post, and it intelligently queues content for you automatically. This means you do not have to babysit the publishing process every single day of the week. Let's have a quick reality check comparison to make this crystal clear for your specific needs. CapCut is undeniably fast and extremely friendly for single-clip edits on the go. However, it is not specifically built for the massive task of large-scale content repurposing. DaVinci gives you ultimate creative precision, but it often costs you valuable time and a healthy dose of patience. The workflow software doesn't replace your creative control. Rather, it smartly augments and enhances it. It first finds the moments that are genuinely worth keeping from your long recordings. Then it formats those keepers perfectly and helps you push them live without all the unnecessary busy work. Here is one more practical tip for immediate efficiency gains in your daily editing routine. You must learn the keyboard shortcuts for whatever editor you happen to be using on a regular basis. These shortcuts alone will shave off minutes that eventually compound into hours saved over time. Pair that personal shortcut mastery with intelligent automation to supercharge your weekly output. Let the software find and format the clips, and then use your shortcuts to fine-tune those invisible cuts and punch-ins. So the 10 cuts we just covered are truly the fundamental backbone of every snappy cinematic edit. Mastering those foundational cuts ensures your videos always feel intentional, emotional, and incredibly snappy. After that, you let smart tooling handle the heavy repetitive content creation grind for you. That means auto-editing to pull out your best viral moments without you lifting a finger for discovery. And auto-scheduling means you don't have to stay glued to a publishing calendar anymore. A unified content calendar keeps your entire output organized across every single platform you use. If you are starting a new channel or trying to grow your presence incredibly fast, this combination is your secret sauce. You focus on making all the crucial creative choices, the cuts that really land well with the audience. Then you simply let the software handle all of those tedious, necessary, repetitive bits and pieces. Your audience will absolutely notice the massive difference in quality and consistency across your content. And the best part is you get all of that valuable time back to focus on your next great idea. All right, it is time for you to go try these 10 powerful cuts in your very next edit today. Start small by incorporating just 1 or 2 new things, perhaps a solid cutaway and 1 well-placed punch-in. Then slowly build up your toolkit by layering in action cuts and the dynamic J and L transitions. And if you are drowning in long-form videos that desperately need to become short, punchy social clips, give the automation a real shot. These tools are specifically designed to help you find the hidden gold buried deep within your raw footage. This smart assistant won't ever steal your unique creative spark, which is truly yours to keep. It simply ensures that your unique spark finally gets seen by the massive audience it deserves out there. If you're curious, I can walk you through a complete workflow right now, step by step. We could take a full 30-minute interview and find the top 10 most impactful moments within it. Then we would slap on those social-friendly crops and schedule them perfectly out over the next entire month. I promise to deliver no fluff, just a real, practical, step-by-step guide you can immediately implement. Honestly, does that sound like a useful next step for managing your content creation goals right now?